Shooter, big deer. I can't believe that just happened. The dead deer. He dropped right where we had him. Yes! Oh my gosh. Holy crap. The great Hambino right here. Okay. All right. We are hot. I got some new blood on the podcast today. And I've got a voice you guys have heard quite a bit here. Kevin Gross is with me, but I also got Brett Bechtel to my right, and I got Zach Black right across from me. He says he's got COVID, or he thinks.
Or he was drinking with somebody that might have COVID yesterday.
So I guess we might be sicker and shit after this. I don't know. No, it is what it is. COVID's just another cold, right? Mm-hmm. So
we all got kids, so we're sick all the time anyway. So
oh, God, it just went through my house, and Kevin's over here dying,
I'm coming off of the flu.
Yeah.
I might sound a little raspy, or you might hear some coughs later.
He's got whiskey on the rocks tonight.
The whiskey gets rid of the flu, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So they say.
After about 3 hours of this podcast, we're going to be just
I'm going to be feeling just fine in a couple hours, I imagine.
Yeah. Can you guys hear all right in your headsets?
Yeah.
You guys good?
I think so. Fine.
Well, thanks for joining me here tonight, fellas. We're going to get into this. Zach, you and I have been kind of talking quite a bit about getting you guys on here. Your brother shot an absolute
toad
this year, so he's got to come on here.
We got to get him here.
Damn it!
He's excited about that.
He's what did he end up scoring?
207 and a quarter. He'll officially get scored by Boone and Crockett beginning of January.
So it's going to be netted out, which nets are for fish.
Yeah,
so we're not going to
sure.
We're not going to go off that number. But Zach's with me, and Brett, thanks for coming on, man.
Not a problem at all.
Overdue.
Thanks for the invite.
Overdue. Yeah.
I mean, you can probably see the wall behind us over here.
Yeah, I'm videoing this, so if you guys, we'll see if this runs for. I always get leery about videoing shit. It's when I can't man it. I'm not manning it, so they're just point and view. But no, we're gonna get into a plethora of shit tonight, and it's gonna be a BS talk. But I've got 32 questions here that we probably won't even get through. But
rapid fire.
Yeah, so I'm going to put Zach and Brett on the hot seat tonight. Kevin, he's already went through the ringer a couple times.
Yeah, you've already heard me sound like an idiot before, so we'll let these guys talk.
So Zach, kind of you start. Give me a little, not me, but everybody out there that's listening, who you are, what you do. And
Zach Block, run a pool and spa business here in the area. Work so we can hunt, basically.
Yeah.
Eat, sleep, breathe it. Always thinking of ways to make our little pieces of property better.
Yeah. Well, and you like long walks on the beach and
all that fun stuff.
Too,
That's right. That's right.
No, good deal, man. I'm glad you could make it here. And Brett, I'm going to throw you. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Brett Bechtel. Grew up here right in Isabella County. I work for a chemical company out of Midland, so everybody knows who that is. Helps pay the bills and allow me to do what I like to do, and that's hunting. Now that sports are done for me, so of course we grew up knowing each other our entire life, and part of the family now that you married my first cousin. So
I think we all played on the slow pitch softball team at one point too.
We did. Yeah, a couple years, I think.
That's
right.
The best time of my life, to be honest. God, then kids came into it, and then we had
TRC.
I think you guys quit, and then Brett and I held on for a couple more years after that.
Yeah, the hamstrings wouldn't allow me to go anymore.
The mind was there. The body just, it was.
Maybe we should bring the team back out.
That 80% rule, I just I struggled following it.
Shit, I remember waking up days and just my hamstrings like guitar strings, just ready to go, Oh, good deal. No, yeah, we've all known each other basically our whole life, all the same age. You guys went to a different high school than I did, but
better high school.
Yeah, he wished he went to high school over here.
Hey, that's a parent issue, all right? So I lived closer to your high school than mine. It was crazy. But yeah, let's get into this. So all big Michigan guys. Obviously, we all grew up here. Kevin's a Michigan State fan.
I was just going to say,
which
speak
sucks.
for yourself, sir.
It sucks for him because
it's been a good year this year.
Yeah, real good year.
It just is what it is.
You don't
get
hear
3
me.
to 4
You don't hear me
wins?
chirping.
Close to your
You
mouth.
don't. Oh my God! I told.
Every time.
Hey, at least basketball season's here.
Yeah, in Michigan. Oh boy,
All
shaky.
the Michigan basketball teams aren't any good though.
Shaky.
Hey, just getting dubs though. I mean, what the heck?
Beat Lipscomb tonight.
Barely.
Yeah.
Kobe Buffkin had 22.
That's right.
Barely.
Yeah, knocking down 4 threes. Let's
8
go.
for 9 from the floor. Not a bad
It's
night.
early. They can iron out some stuff, but I don't think any of them are going to be world beaters.
Oh, so I want to get into first and foremost. Zach, I'm going to hit you first here. You're a guy that grew up obviously in Michigan hunting, but you've been traveling out of state a little bit here. So give me right off the rip, like, the biggest difference is when you started hunting out of state from Michigan.
Well, it's just the completely different age class of deer that you see.
Really?
The thing that immediately jumps out at you. Just you're targeting a completely different animal.
Yeah.
And you do have to kind of compartmentalize that. When you're hunting here in Michigan, you can't be looking for deer that you are looking for in Ohio, Illinois, Iowa.
Got to adjust your standards.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more rewarding shooting a nice deer here in Michigan than it is shooting one out of state. But it's a lot of fun as well.
Let me ask you this, and this goes for everybody here because we all are Michigan guys. Like, I had a guy, Cameron Durr, on the podcast not too long ago, and he brought up something that I felt it hit me at home too. Is like when I've killed a deer out of state, it's like I'm happy, but I want to get back out there and do it. Now, like at home, when I kill one at home, it's almost like, thank God. Thank God. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that out anywhere else I've gone. Do you get that same feeling?
Yes, I do. But I still want to get back out there. I enjoy just watching them more than anything.
Yeah.
But it is a kind of a sigh of relief when you do get one under your belt.
Yeah.
For sure, the pressure's off. Mama does think that means hunting season's coming to a close.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
got a reminder we can hunt until January 1st.
The earliest I've ever shot a buck this year was the 18th this year, and it was like, she was like, well, I'm like, oh, I still want to go deer hunting. Like,
yeah. Well, shit, after I killed my second buck on the 21st, Alyssa's looking at me like, yeah, I said I was going to go kill a doe. She goes, for what?
You got me. You got me.
And then I get all these guys asking, where are you going hunting now? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm right here. I'm done. Like, and I got a bit, next couple falls are pretty big. I'm going to travel quite a bit. So it's like, build those brownie points.
That's right.
As long as she has, remembers this. Like, I gave you this whole fall, basically.
I promise you she's not going to remember.
Yeah, pretty short term.
I'll tell you that.
Brett, what about you? Like, when you've killed a lot of bucks here in Michigan, ton of really good bucks. I mean, out of all of us, your biggest deer, let's talk gross score here. What was he?
161 and change. I think it was 161 and 2/8, I believe.
Yeah, he's
That's
killed
what he grossed.
Damn good bucks. And you've never hunted out of state, but tell me like how you feel killing bucks here. Is it like that sigh of relief? Like, damn, thank God.
Yeah, for me, I have been out of state once. Me and one of our close buddies, we all know him. I went to Ohio with him, just on public ground for a long weekend. We didn't really run into much. We actually jumped a buck that was probably, I don't know, maybe 140, inch 10. We were basically picking out the tree we were going to hang the stand, and up he went out. But we never ran into anything. But I've always been tossing around the idea of going out of state, or I want to, and almost went to Iowa this year. Just didn't happen. But for me, I just think I'm at the point that I'd rather chase deer around here.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm getting like decent ones on cameras. I find it more rewarding, like kind of you said, to kill something around here that's bigger, like Zach said, than go out of state and pay to kill something or do something like that. I know I want to do it because I want to see the age class of those deer compared to around here. They're a dime a dozen compared to around here. But, I try and kill everything around here or get on at least the nice ones we're after. But, of course, once you get the first one on the ground, it definitely I guess is rewarding and helps out the rest of your year because, we're not chasing 100-inch deer. You're trying to kill. I don't know about anyone else here, but our target's kind of 130. You kill something over 130, and, that's really what you're after. But, we're not going to pass up something in the upper 120s. But it changes year to year and what you're getting. And, what you have there to hunt, like you said, you can't hunt something that's not around. So,
well, and that's like I've been talking to even some of you guys, too, is like, the first buck I killed this year, he was like in the mid-1 teens, but he was the second biggest deer I had on camera all year. So it's like, so then you're playing the game of like, okay, do I want to kill bigger deer? Do I let him go? But it's like, boy, I haven't been getting anything on camera, and he's probably a 2-year-old. you know, and it's like, and I hate being the guy like, well, if I shoot him or if I don't shoot him, then that guy's going to shoot him. But
yeah, but you got to take. I mean, you got to look at what you
Zach's
got.
the king of this
you got to
guy
look
right
at what
here.
you got
I know,
and
right?
take the top, top few you got and try to hunt those.
yeah, right. And that's where I'm at.
And
with
that
the top
changes
10%
from
or
year to
whatever.
year.
Yeah.
And if that deer's 120 or whatever he is,
Yeah.
then so be it.
Well, and
You're still picking out you're still kind of picking out a few deer and
For sure.
targeting just those deer, which, is pretty tough.
But everybody's at a different stage though too, because like you had 120 some inch deer out in front of you with
2
your
nights
bow
ago.
the other night, and you took a video and sent it to all of us. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not letting that deer
But,
walk.
okay, so what
you've
you're
done
getting-
it multiple times.
What you're
already.
getting at though too is like, you're only as good as your property. Zach's got some
right?
unbelievable property.
He's able to do that kind of thing,
Yeah,
for sure.
So like, I had a buddy send me a picture last night, and he's like, and this is probably a 115 inch 10 pointer, and he's been getting them religiously. He's like, should I go in and kill him? And I'm like, that's totally up to you. I said, but if you're asking me, you probably shouldn't. If you're trying to get, but I said, I can tell you what I would do in December, middle of end of December. I'd be going in there with my bow and trying to kill that deer because that's unheard of.
Right.
To be right now in this game. I mean, maybe Zach's an anomaly a little bit, but like for me to go out there on my 2 farms and kill a deer of that stature right now, close to Christmas, that's unheard of.
Yeah, that's why I went up that deer I got on camera up on public where I've
Yeah.
been going. Like, I got that deer on
Don't
camera
say
October.
where it's at. Like
you,
you did
can
last
edit it
time.
out. You can edit
I
that
had
out.
to fucking listen
on
to
it,
3.5 hours for the podcast to figure out. Kevin dropped where this public is, and I'm like, shit, I had to listen to that fucking whole thing. And I'm like, dude,
And you enjoyed it. Don't lie. But yeah, 130 some inch deer on public ground. Like, I'm hunting that thing hard still.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be able to do it for the next week or so. But after Christmas, I got my eye on a couple days. Hopefully, I can at least try again.
yeah.
I feel like I'm pissing in the wind up there though. But
Which
never
Zach?
know.
What's that?
I said you never know.
I know,
You got to be out there.
and that's why I've been
Can't kill 'em from
trying
the couch.
still.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
Even though I got one picture of them, and I went up there and set a whole bunch of cameras and haven't seen anything yet. I've still hunted him 5 times since I've hunted him quotation marks,
I know it's tough.
but I haven't seen anything.
Zach, what's your criteria around here? Like, is it year to year, like you said, as far as like what you're getting on camera? Like, could one year, you might only have like a 120 on camera? Is it like that deer or?
Top 10% or
Age?
something?
Yeah.
or-
So we're trying to go more towards age.
Yeah.
Trying to kill 4.5-year-old deer and older.
Which is very difficult here.
See, but
There's more
I
of
think
them
there's
than you
more
think.
of them
Yep,
around there
yep.
than what you think.
Okay.
So this was years ago. I don't know if it was 8 years ago. We killed 3 deer at camp, opening day of gun season.
Yeah.
And we sent the teeth in to deerage.com, I think is what it was. The biggest one was 8 point, it was 124 inches, and that deer was 200 pounds. Uncle shot a 119-inch 10 point that we figured was 2.5 to 3.5, just off size. It was 160 pounds.
Just looking at the deer.
Just looking
Yep.
at the deer. And then Bernie killed we knew this deer had some age on it because we had seen it the year before. It didn't have
Yep.
anything for tines. Had decent mass, but it maybe was 100 inches. Maybe.
Really?
Got those teeth back. 4.5 on the 124, 4.5 on the 118, and 7.5 on the 8 point.
No shit.
That didn't break 100.
No.
Wow.
So
Did you at Bernie's buck? Did you have multiple years of history with that deer?
yeah, so I had seen that deer. So back then I could hunt over there late season.
Yep.
And I think they were gone in Iowa, so I went over there and was hunting. And I tell you what, and this deer came out, and he was walking that grassy lane towards me, and I just seen his frame because he was pretty wide, and you could see it in his face that this deer was old.
No
I
tines.
almost just no tines. You couldn't find him in the scope. Couldn't, and then he
Couldn't
turned
play a
broadside.
picture.
I'm like,
Where they at? Where they at?
What happened?
You're drawing like stick
yeah.
figures on his head.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. We've really been noticing the last few years is all the deer that we're killing, we have pictures of the year before.
Yep.
So you're able to build a little bit more history than what we were
Yeah. So
doing years ago.
And that's something I wanted to get into with Brett too, is a little bit because he's a lot of ag country, like I am on around my stuff too. Like year to year around my ag stuff, I've been able to hold a deer 1 year. Like I can see him this year, and then I'll see him the next year, And if I don't kill him, and I know he doesn't die, I don't see him the third year. You know what I mean? So for you, have you seen that turnover? Like how far will it prolong? Do you see that?
See, normally when we see the deer that we can actually recognize from year to year, it's usually we can recognize them from 2.5 to 3.5. You really don't get the recognition from 1.5 to 2.5 because I think a lot of those deer change a lot. Yeah, and they look very similar.
Everyone looks like a basic 6 or 8.
Yep.
But out in our ag country, I mean, it's not very often we can even track deer like that. I mean, some of these deer here up on the wall, we got a couple of them, the real big ones that we've tracked for a year or so, but I don't think
Just
we've
like Aaron
tracked.
said, 1 year to the next.
Yep.
But that next year after that,
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've tracked deer for 2 years. I mean, some nice bucks, but outside that, I don't think we've ever tracked a deer for 3 years that we know of. We've got a doe that we've actually tracked for. This year, she was, I believe, 7.5 this year.
Really?
She's got a hernia in her stomach, so you can see the bulge at the bottom of her stomach, so you can recognize her every time you see her. And it's cool to see her from year to year because you really don't get to do that with does.
Yeah.
So kind of at the point that we kind of want to shoot her because we feel she's responsible for keeping a lot of the bucks out of this certain area during the early season.
Boss
I
nanny
could
doe.
definitely see that.
But come rut, she is the
Still
doe
getting bred,
that
you
will.
think?
Oh, she's 100% getting bred. She had 2 fawns this year. But come rut, she is the doe that will bring you the buck that you're looking for. I don't know
Really?
what it is, but the nicest bucks in that section, if they're running,
She's the cougar.
They're running, she's the one they're after.
Like cougars.
She's
So-
a cougar.
And this year in that particular section, we didn't have anything we really wanted to shoot. There was 3 of them that were between 100 and 110 inches, but there was one sitting there that day that all 3 of them were in there, and they were all dogging her. It's just, yeah. So we're kind of at the point that it's like, we want to leave her because it's cool to track her just to see how old she'll get. But at the same time, it's like we kind
Is
of
she a
need to get
doe
her
that
out of
comes
there.
into heat first every year?
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't know what it is, but and she's not really a homebody. She is early in the year, then she kind of branches off, and we don't really know where she goes. But come rut, she always comes back.
I was gonna
And I
say,
mean,
do you
that's-
see her like pattern wise? Do you see her like a lot of the same stuff she does every year?
Yep. She usually likes to hang out on the south side of this woods that we usually hunt her. She likes to travel to the south, and then she'll go a little to the east. We never really see her travel north out of there, and it doesn't seem like she goes west much. So,
God, even for a doe to live that long around here,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah,
She
I mean,
big?
back to your original question. Yeah, she's nice. I mean, she's not overly big though. That you look at her and you're like, oh wow, she's. I mean, we had another doe in there this year that was bigger than her, but we just, I know from tracking her. But
Would that hernia maybe affect her?
Hey,
Probably hasn't affected
Get
her
it
at
close
all?
to yourself.
I'm loud enough. You can hear me.
no, I don't think it's bothered her a bit. I think she was 2.5 when we originally seen her with the hernia, and we've tracked her ever since. And she's healthy and she's smart though. She's very smart.
bet she
Of
is.
course she
Oh,
is.
yeah.
She probably walks around with her head pointed up in the
Jesus.
trees.
It was.
All you hear
Not 2 years
Here she
ago,
comes.
2 years, 3 years ago, deer I was after was dogging her during the rut. She was coming in, bringing them in right to me on a string, and she pinned me. Fucked it all up. Excuse my French. Blew out of there, and I was madder than hell. But 3 days later, she brought him right back again, and this time she didn't know I was there, so I was in a different tree. But yeah, so love-hate relationship with her. But,
she'll bring him back around.
but yeah, but I think the area I hunt is very similar to yours. I
Yeah.
mean, very large ag. We don't see a lot of that. I mean, I think Zach has the luxury of in his sections. They're a little bigger sections.
It's a 2-mile section there.
and they
And
have,
we've got some good neighbors too.
and you have some good cover.
Yeah,
you have
we
some
got some
big
good cover.
woods.
you
which is
have
a lot of
what
it.
I don't think any of us have, us three, like cover. Even on my other farm, like we don't have cover like you
Yes.
do, you know? Like the video you sent me the other day, like this deer come on a food plot, and I'm like, fuck, you look like you're in northern Michigan.
A lot of Dad and the uncles didn't know what they were doing when they were planting trees, but they just planted pines. It was
Yeah.
a 80-acre field is what it was,
Yeah.
and they've put some pretty decent habitat there.
Yeah.
And they actually laid it out pretty good.
Got lucky.
Blind lock,
Let the
you
bag
know.
open, just let the seeds fall. Jeez. Yeah, I will say, just amongst us four here, with our properties and everything, you can stand to pass those deer, the ones that we're probably killing.
Especially now.
Yes.
If somebody goes back there and shoots them with their bow, I'll tip my cap, and I don't think anybody else is bow hunting.
Yeah. Right.
In that direct area. But
But like you were saying, you guys kind of
We
kept the
stayed right
pressure
off that
off
plot.
because you didn't want to push anything off your farm there to the neighbors that were still hunting.
So I shot a buck off that plot. Maybe it was the 21st of October.
Okay.
So there's another box blind on it. And I might have hunted it a couple times after that. Now, of course, we went 3 weekends down to Illinois, and that really helped too, because you take out your weekends.
Oh, yeah.
You're just not sitting all that much in Michigan. But come gun season, I mean, that didn't get set. That plot didn't get sat until I sent you that.
Oh,
video.
really?
Correct.
So, and roughly how many total acres do you have?
So,
This is another thing because you
Let's not
got
get into that
so
game.
It's not continuous though either.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it's
it's
in a
not.
couple
It's
different
not.
sections.
But
So-
what I'm getting
so-
at though is like all your guys.
it's in the same area though, so
Yeah.
you see some travel from one spot to the next. But like the swamp's 160, but I don't hunt the swamp. There's 30 acres behind the house, behind the parents' house. Deer camp has an 80 and then a 40, and then the farm is 120. Most of the farm is tillable.
Tillable.
Zach, I don't know how
110.
to add that up, so you're gonna have to.
Well, I did
Well,
do some
yeah,
quick
what's
math.
some-
got a calculator out right now running it?
What I'm getting at is like, and I guess how many guys or people can hunt the whole thing?
So deer camp is Uncle Ken, Lon, Matt, Corey. They don't hunt a lot though. So
We're looking for numbers. Not
Yeah,
names.
he's-
4, 5, and Heath can hunt it. Heath 6.
You,
Yep.
you're an old man.
Yeah.
hunted.
Dad doesn't hunt it.
Oh, he doesn't.
No,
Okay.
so he stays at the swamp.
Bernie doesn't hunt it either.
Nope, he
Okay.
stays at the
So
swamp.
Because
okay,
they
we're
got
at
the best
6.
spots, so
We're
they
at
know where to
6.
go.
But
Heath
you have
and I-
6 guys.
Heath and I hunt the farm.
Let's call it modestly 400, 500 acres. Would you
No.
say that?
Not that much.
300?
300.
Okay. Let me give you this. 219 acres, we got 11 guys on
Oh, yeah.
it. And it's
Oh, yeah.
continuous. So it's like,
And
you know
what,
what I mean?
60 is a hayfield.
And 65 of it.
65.
Yeah, don't forget the 5.
Well, then you
There's
even
5.
got to get into the game of how many of those people actually hunt a lot
Well, right.
or around hunt a lot
Yes.
too.
And then also when you throw your deer camp in the middle of the property, when it's beautiful for the deer camp, but it's also terrible for hunting, it's like, I get it. You know, it was 20 years ago we built it, and it's like, well, that kind of sucks too, you know. So it's hard to do
Short
that.
walk
but
to camp though.
very short. Yeah, very
Can
short.
you just build a house? Can you build a camp now?
Oh, no, I can't. No. I'd like to take that camp and move it a little bit, though. But, no, that's – I guess, Brett, I'm going to ask you this question is, like, year in and year out, you're killing bucks consistently. You're one of the more consistent killers that I know personally. What do you think you can contribute to, like, your success year in and year out? Like, what can you hang your hat on the one thing you think?
To my personal success?
Yeah.
I would say probably 2 things. One of them, access to the ground that we have to hunt. I guess it's not unknown to everyone at this table that we have access to quite a bit of ground.
A variety.
So,
yep.
which is a double-edged sword in itself. I mean, everybody thinks it's great, which it is, but at the same time, you miss a lot of deer.
Yeah, spread
So-
yourself too thin.
We do that a lot of
and
the
you
time.
play the guessing
I mean,
game a lot,
Yep.
you know.
You'll sit a spot for 2-3 days in a row, maybe because you're chasing a certain buck, and then you'll be like, oh, I got a picture of this deer on this camera over here, and you jump over, and the day you jump over,
He's
the
right
day
in front
comes
of
by.
you.
It's like,
Yep.
So you get that game, but I mean, for me, I think the thing that I can hang on the most is probably just my upbringing into it. So I mean, my dad has bow hunted forever, so I was probably 5-6 years old. And I would go to the tree with them. And looking back now, it probably wasn't very safe because I don't even think they had harnesses back then.
I did the same thing.
But I would go and sit on the base of the platform when we deer hunt. I remember going and sitting in a bucket sitting in a cornfield, and I think this was the first time I actually went hunting with my dad. He tells a story, and a buck was coming down along the corn. And he's like, oh, you see it? Here it comes. And he points at it, and I stand up, and loud as I could yell, like, oh, there he is, Dad, I see him. He took off running, but, I got brought up into it. So I think I've learned a lot from him through the years. And I think I learned stuff earlier than a lot of other people. I mean, especially a lot of my friends that, I mean, their dads hunt, but a lot of them gun hunt. And there's a big difference
Yep.
between gun hunting and bow hunting.
Yes.
I mean, and not a lot of people know that, but there's
No,
quite a
there
big difference.
definitely is. I mean, think about how much, like, of the season you're missing. Like, to me as a bow hunter in Michigan, like, we all gun hunt as well, but, like, I've said it before, and you guys probably heard me say it, but like our bow hunting season is over on the night of the 14th of November 14th. It
100%.
is like for all four of us sitting at this table. Like, yeah, you had a good buck come on you the other night, but like you can say the same thing probably too.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
it is vastly different.
You missed
when the 15 hits.
Yeah, once gun season starts, all the natural movement is out the window.
Gone. Yeah. I personally don't even see a rut after the 15th.
No.
Like, you might see a little buck come in dogging a doe or nudging something, but, man, it's few far in between for me.
I would argue in the ag country we hunt that after the first day of gun season or the second day, gun season is essentially over. I mean, as far as getting on something really nice you want to get, because it's either shot, or they're smart enough that their nocturnals could be,
down under
or
a
they've
rock.
been pushed to cover, which in a lot of the spots we hunt, and I know Kevin hunts a lot of the same area I do, we don't have the cover.
Yep.
A lot of our cover is standing corn, which by then it's gone. And then we're hunting a couple acre woodlots. And
well, a lot of the farmers around us, i.e. Kevin too, he's a farmer, so he, when the crops come off, they disc everything under, and it's like, what the fuck?
Hey, we're no-till. We're no-till.
Well, okay,
Will you?
sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
Come on now.
fall tillage, a lot of people I
Yeah.
know are doing
Yeah.
fall tillage, and it's like, come on, just leave a little bit.
Yeah, wouldn't it
Just
be
leave
great
a
if
little.
everybody no-tilled?
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
it leaves a lot of
Oh, yeah, sure
for
does.
animals to.
Yeah.
Not to mention walking through
I
it.
don't know if I would argue for the no-till. I would argue for a farmer who doesn't spend enough time spraying. I am all about cornfields that are
Dirty.
full of weeds. Dirty. Kevin knows the particular cornfield I'm talking about.
Yeah, super dirty.
And it holds the big ones
I get
every
made
single
fun
year.
of that cornfield every year because everyone
Yeah.
drives by and go, "Oh, look at Kevin's corn. Looks like shit like
You should
every
be like,
year."
look at the rows.
Yeah.
Are those pretty straight?
Yeah. No, they're not straight.
I'm not talking about your corn. I'm talking about the corn near to your corn.
I know.
But
Everyone pokes
I know-
fun at me thinking it's mine.
Yeah.
So you like dirty corn, huh?
I
a
like
little
dirty
hot-
corn, which
hot.
Dirty corn,
Which
dirty
ship there?
beans.
Well,
yeah.
and we have no dirty corn to hunt, unfortunately. My in-laws do a very good job of our grandma
Taking
and grandma's
everything
farm.
out of
Yeah, they're clean as a whistle. So usually
You
they're
asked
much
that
better.
question, Aaron, and I was going to kind of ask the same thing. And I poked fun at Brett the other day when we were you shot that buck and you had that same outfit on. Is when he shot 7 or 8 years ago, whenever it was. He was wearing the same outfit, the same orange Michigan hat, and I was like, "Jesus, Brett, you buy anything?" And
Photoshop. He's good at Photoshop.
Yeah, and I'm like, right there is why they kill deer every year. That's consistency right there. Like they figured out how to do it, and they just
That's just because I'm cheap.
in my
And the
head it
Michigan
was
hat.
I
like
did actually get him to
That's
buy
right.
a bow 2 years ago.
right.
So
it was like if
I mean, that was a big step up for me. I had
was
that
a
other bow
huge
for
step
a
up.
long time.
yeah.
because
My-
everyone gets
my-
caught up in like the mobile thing now or the next new fad, and like I don't think you guys like really have like lost yourself in that
No,
whole thing.
but
Like,
I think
that's a
we've-
different way to hunt. You got to learn.
Yeah.
a whole
Well, you got to
different-
know your property as well and how you can do it. Like we can't go do whitetail adrenaline shit on our stuff. Like
Right.
it's just not gonna work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think that goes back to your question, too. I think a lot of our success goes back to, like I said, my dad talked about him bringing me up into it or whatever. But, I mean, a lot of the ground we've hunted, he's hunted it for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So we have a very good understanding of where the deer bed, where they like to travel. The biggest thing year to year is figuring out based on
Crop rotation.
the crop rotation what changes. And, of course, you'll get deer that'll do different things or stick to certain patterns. But along with adapting to that, I think, as we've added trail cameras to the arsenal, which we cover a lot of ground, so we have to carry quite a few of those. But I think we're lucky in the aspect that since we do hunt a bunch of different parcels in different areas, that we can kind of track movement of deer and where they like to go. Because, I mean, like a lot of people are hunting like an 80 or 40, 100, whatever, and then they have nothing near it. We might hunt 100, and then half mile down the road, we got another 80 we can hunt, and then another mile and a half the other way, we got a 40 or another 80 or 100. So it's cool to see the movement that you see from certain deer where they like to travel from year to year.
They travel a lot farther than
And
you think.
A lot
Yes.
harder.
Yes.
I
And then
agree.
you'll have deer that'll do the same thing from year to year. So, like, getting in the deer that my dad shot this year with a rifle, that deer last year did the same exact pattern. So we'd never see him during velvet, never see him during the early season. He would always show up late rut. Like, basically the 10 days before the opener of gun is when he would show up. And he would always stick to kind of
Which we
these-
call late rut, but it's actually in
Yes.
the middle of the rut.
Right,
I mean,
right in
so,
the middle of rut. But
yeah.
it's
Yep.
the ending
That's
of
how
a rut
trained we
because
are. It's like,
gun
the
season
rut's
kills
over,
it.
some of her
It's November 2nd. Rut's over.
Yeah, but that deer would come into the section. He would kind of stay to the same few woodlots. We could never really get a beat on where he was always coming from, but he would always just stick to kind of the two woodlots. He would never venture these other ones. And he did the same thing last year, and then again this year he showed up at the same exact time and kind of did the same thing, and he ended up staying around
Cost
one
him
day
his
too
life.
late. Yeah.
Well, talking about the ag stuff still, because like a lot of your stuff is, you know, it might be 3-4 acres of timber
Yeah.
with some wooded fence rows.
the best.
Yeah. Which is so hard to hunt. Like it is for me, it is fun to hunt, but it is so hard because that's why I think, and my stuff, I glass more than I hunt. Like a lot of people, like somebody that's close to us, he gives me shit all the time. That's like, why you need to be in the woods, and I'm like, you just don't understand. Like, if I go in that woods and I blow him out, that might be the last time that I ever see him. So I want to physically. I haven't hunted a morning in 2 years, and I've killed 5 bucks. And what I do in the morning is I drive around. I take my daughter to school and I drive around. If I see a buck going into the timber, where am I going tonight?
You're going there.
That's where I'm going. You know what I mean? And I've done it twice in 2 years where I can do that, and it's, and I sat 13 times last year, and I sat, I don't know, 9 times this year. Killed 5 bucks.
You say it's
like,
hard.
I wish I was at 9 times this year.
My
wife probably wished that too.
With the little wood lots and fence rows, but I find it almost easier coming from hunting on the public, where it's the big woods and you got all this structure.
It's way easier.
And here you've got a wood lot here and wood lot there, and you've got a wooded line connecting the two. Where's that deer going to travel?
Right.
Well, the best way I can describe it too, and Zach can kind of test this, like hunting out of state quite a bit, is like you see deer out of state do that. Like you might see a deer in Kansas, Iowa, Ohio, Illinois do what deer should do. We don't see it here. But in ag country, like October 2nd this year, I sat, kind of an observation, said I thought I could kill there. It was on some white oaks. My shooter comes out. He's 400 yards away. It's like, okay, I can move over there tomorrow. And he's probably going to do that same thing. The public or big wood stuff that we hunt, it's really hard to do that. Like it's like throwing a dart at the wall.
Right.
Man,
you could see him that night. Yeah,
No,
you could
it's
see him
not.
that night and be like, "Oh, I saw him go into this clear cut over here." Well, hell, he might not be in that clear cut tomorrow.
be 3 miles
He might
from
be
here.
2.5 miles away already,
Yeah.
which we saw with camera intel up there this year.
Oh
so,
boy, the deer moved a long way up there. Wow.
yeah.
So
Yeah, he moved from across 2 swamps and 3 clear cuts and 2.8 miles. So you just never know. Where in the ag, you watch him go in a wood lot in the morning. Well, he's probably going to be in there in the afternoon, and you want to go sit.
well, and that's like the big thing too. And I think we all run cell cams, so I don't know if we should go down that road, but I would love to, because that's a hot topic right now in the hunting world. Is like a lot of people are anti cell cam, and I get it. There's a fine line.
They're going to hate Zach.
You can.
I love my cell cams.
I love them too. But the thing is my whole debate to people that don't like will not run them is like, okay, I see their point. I do. Don't get me wrong. But also, what's the difference of me seeing that deer go in the timber that morning and going there and hunting right after that and killing them than a cell cam?
None.
Nothing.
None.
But I will say the difference is I have a lot more time than he might have or you might have, because I can work from home. My job's a little lenient. I can go and glass for 2 hours every morning. I get that, but like I like cell cams, especially for ag.
Yeah.
Dude, keeping you out of woodlots is freaking key.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, you don't want to blow that deer out of that woodlot because, like you said, you might not see him again.
Yeah.
They give you so much good info, but you can't
Instant
just
info,
you
too.
can't
Chase your
just
tail,
hunt the
though.
cameras though.
Oh,
because
They don't catch everything.
yeah, and
There's a lot
you
of room around a camera.
They
for
don't.
sure. I mean, boy, if you had a camera set and then behind that camera, behind that tree, you had another camera set, it'd surprise you how many deer
You miss 'em.
skirt right behind it. They're just not
You got to
very
get that
photogenic.
camera up there.
I've had
Gotta
them
get it up
all
in
over
the
the
air.
place.
We had a good example of that this year. We had 2 cameras that were within 20, well, not 20, probably 30 yards of each other. And you would be amazed at the difference in what pictures you got from camera to camera.
Really?
They were both facing the same direction. So
Did you
both
do it on purpose? Or what was the reason for having cameras that close?
The one was covering a food plot, and then the other one was covering just a main run into the timber that's north of the food plot that they like to come in. It's kind of a low spot, so it's a natural travel corridor where they come through. But both cameras facing straight north, and it was amazing the difference.
Really? So what was the difference in far as like, were you
Just-
getting...
Just the difference in, I mean, I'm not really looking at doe activity as much as deer you might be after nicer deer.
So where the
2.5.
bucks were coming
yeah,
into the
nice.
plot.
Well, nicer 2.5, 3.5-year-old deer, or deer that catch your attention when you're going through your camera.
Yep.
Like you'd have one that goes by the same camera every single time, but he wouldn't even touch the camera to the north. It's only 25 yards away. And you're thinking, why wouldn't he go up there? What's the difference? Like, where is he going from here? Is he working back south? And then it's just interesting to see, because you'd think if one's within 20, 30 yards of the other one, he should be going by the other one probably at least sometime. But it never happened.
Never did.
Maybe, but maybe not.
Right. Well, and then you're playing the game like, okay, when is he gonna jump over to that runway? Or like, when is like he's using this, but like they're so unpredictable.
But it's just like that deer that I found the sheds of this year. I had a camera 80 yards from that bed that whole time. Never got that deer on camera.
He smelled you.
And his sheds were right there.
It's your beard.
So
I wasn't wearing set lock. So
last
Oh God, here we go.
two springs ago.
Don't get into that one.
Yeah, let's not get into that tonight.
I don't know.
Beers are flowing.
I don't know. Good time for it.
2 springs ago.
Should that be the thumbnail? The picture we got?
I don't know. No, I don't want pulled into that one. No.
Diet Coke bottle and no select. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
2 springs ago,
deer
deer we called Tex. We had him the year before, and I was getting all kinds of summer pictures of him consistently up until like October 8th.
Okay.
And I didn't get another picture of him the rest of the year. I went out shed hunting, and I found his matched set of sheds sitting underneath the same tree 60 yards away from my camera. And I thought that deer was dead. I mean, you didn't see him from October 6th to,
So he was just an early summer deer or he was just a summer into early season for you.
But then he came back at some point and dropped both of his sheds. I don't think the deer ever left.
Oh,
He
really? He just
just
eluded all your cameras.
He just eluded the cameras.
That's wild. Do you have any pockets? I mean, I know you got a big swamp. You got a lot of cover. You got any pockets that deer are holding up in there?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where I was catching that deer is not somewhere that I can hunt. Where I was catching him that year.
Trespassing. He's on the neighbors.
I was not trespassing.
Cemetery.
It's just a travel corridor, and it works out well to inventory.
Cemetery.
Yes, correct.
That's where the big bugs are at, cemeteries.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating. The next year, he's still around. I never caught him on that camera. That following year when he was 4, he had jumped over across the road, and that was that.
That's wild. I'm gonna take the question right to you. Like I said to Brett, what is something that you hang your hat on, like, because you're a consistent killer as well.
I scout a lot. So in the summer, my favorite thing to do is load the kids up, load the wife up. Let's go drive the section. Yep. And we'll circle.
Scouting by you, just glassing.
Just glassing.
Okay.
Every night, it seems like.
Yeah. If I can, we are in the truck.
Yep.
I mean, we could sit on the couch and watch the Idiot Box, or we could get in the truck and go. And we'll circle those couple sections for an hour and a half. And I do that as often as I can, and I get a really good inventory of what is where. And that helps for our early season success for sure.
How much merit do you put into, let's say hypothetical, you're running those loops, seeing these deer. How much merit do you put into the shift? The early season shift.
So this is fascinating. I really don't see it.
Really?
So the deer that are at the swamp, I don't see on the back end. Very seldom.
So can you tell me this? Is it because of a lack of pressure, you think, that you put on the deer?
Could be.
Yep.
I think that's more like isolated towards your guys' scenario.
The farm
because
too.
I see it different a
so
lot
there's
elsewhere.
all kinds of pressure at the farm. Like when I go out with my deer rifle, opening day of gun season, I'm surrounded by
a lot of orange.
13 people. I got four deer rifles within 300 yards of me. So it's littered, but you just don't see that travel north or south. It's strange.
It is so. I agree, though, but I can tell you this, now that you said that, on my ag stuff, I don't really see a shift either. But in the big country, my big wood stuff, I see a shift.
Lack of pressure in your
way
area.
more shift.
Yeah, there's Brett hit it. I mean, there's a lack. I don't want to say too much. A lack of pressure.
Don't get any coordinates on that.
Yeah, there's a lack of pressure. But I will say, consistent theory I have in my stuff is that about the 10th, if you don't get it done around the 10th or October 1st to the 10th, I'll give it the 13th. You're pretty pooched until that last 5 days of October, and then the ag stuff is very, for me, Brett can attest to this, he's been hunting ag a lot longer than I have, but my stuff is, and I'm very condensed. He's got a lot more, he can move, he's spread out. My stuff is like, I feel like there's 2 stages. I can get it that first 10 days, or I got to get it those last 5 days. And even like in the first 5 days of November, it's very hit or miss, very hard. I don't know. You see that same kind of theory?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar where we're at in the ag country as far as that. I mean, always the first, I would say, week of bow is your best chance to get on one, and then your next chance is come rut, basically the pre-rut to full swing of rut. So, I mean, the 25th, 26th of October, and then all the way up until the opener gun. I mean, that period between the first week and the 20th, I mean, you can run into something, but, I mean, it's very hit or miss, and your odds are a lot lower than those other 2 time periods.
We call that 25th to the first, like, pre-rut, but that's where I find I see, like, my peak,
favorite
like,
for sure. By far.
deer have lost their minds.
The 20th to the 28th.
Yeah.
I mean,
The last 10 days of October is where my favorite rut activity is.
The 20th through the 25th, I see deer. It's noon. I had a deer good buck this year at noon in a bean field, and I look back, and it's 12:30, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing out there? Like, by himself. What are you doing? And
they're just itching. They seem like they're just itching. They know what's coming, and they're just itching to go.
Yeah.
And you see a lot more daylight movement that time of year. And, everybody talks about the beginning part of November. Those deer are so much more unpredictable. And that's the part that I don't, like as much about.
But like you said, you're the guy that has the scouting thumb on him.
Correct,
so it's like you got the pulse, and then all of a sudden you lose it, and it's like, oh, what the hell is going on? What am I doing here?
Yep. Would you say you're more of a volume hunter or like a strategical?
Definitely.
Really?
Definitely. I'm volume, but I'm very safe in my volume.
Okay.
So I'm a big food plot guy as well. But I make it so where I can get in and out of those food plots every single time. Like if I can't climb up into and I hunt a lot of box blinds on my food just to protect my scent.
So you're a scent guy too.
We're going to get into that. I
do want to get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Maybe it's going the other way.
Yeah.
Do we all run scent line?
I don't think anybody
I do.
I don't.
I do.
Brett does.
Well, I'm sponsored by Scentlock.
He's been wearing the same Scentlock suit for 15 years.
Hey.
The activated carbon is not working anymore.
Oh, you just got to throw it in the dryer. Throw it in the dryer. That activates right up.
It's got to get to 117 degrees.
Yep, which my dryer does.
He's got a commercial dryer.
Keep going.
I like box blinds, and I will. If I can't climb up into my blind and have deer out when I get into the blind, then I don't have a good enough entrance and exit. So I use screens and brush them into pines or whatever I can. And that, I mean,
that's what I was gonna say. Is you were like scouting is where I do it. No, it's in your prep work, in your screens, and your planning when you do that.
But he does
stuff
spend a lot of time, like actually.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I know
they work hand in hand, definitely.
Right. Exactly.
There's nothing worse than
you've got a plan with the scouting that you've done.
There's nothing worse than dark comes and I got 20 deer out. How am I going to get down? I don't want to have.
You don't want to sit there for an hour and a half.
I don't want to be throwing water bottles, which I have done.
Or get on your phone and turn coyote calls on.
I got one chew can in my pocket, and I got to send that. Wow.
Now I can't find it.
Yeah. Now I don't have
full can.
Better make sure it's empty.
Don't have a flashlight.
What's a can? 825 of Copenhagen.
Jeez, I'm telling you, it's getting up there.
Didn't you quit? Don't tell your wife this.
Huh?
Didn't you quit chewing?
No.
Now she might listen.
Yeah. No, she does not think I quit.
Oh, I thought you quit.
Do I got to edit that out?
No, we're good. We're good.
Tell me this then, because I've never been on your farm. Because
it's terrible. Don't go.
Yeah. You're a box blind food plot guy. Is it because you guys don't want to go in the deep and the thick?
Correct.
You just got a sanctuary.
Correct.
Okay, so you guys are very strategical about that.
Yes, I'm deathly afraid if I go in there, I'm gonna.
That's not a word. Strategical.
It is now.
It is a word.
Sure. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Good. There we go.
That's a word.
Brett's got a big brain.
And that's vastly different than what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of the, I don't do the food plots. Not that I used to. I still might. Who knows? We'll see. But I don't have a lot of, places I can do that. So not against it. I used to do it, but I will say I like getting in terrain features. I like learning that way and getting in tight. And we've got a couple areas on our big wood stuff that's like, I think they're bedding. You know, it's thicker than hell, but it's like, have I seen deer bed there? No, I don't know, but it's thicker than fuck. So I try to get in
supposed
that.
to bed there.
Yeah, and you know, we shoot good bucks coming in and out of there, so it's working. But that's what's cool about it to me, is because there's 4 of us here, and all 4 of us kind of do different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brett's got a kind of variety of both what you and I do. He does food plots and also kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we have them where we can have them, which isn't very many areas. But where we can have them, we do have them, because I see the benefit in having them. But a lot of the stuff is ag, and then, of course, when it comes off, you can't really throw a food plot into it. But it's a little late in the game for that. But
and then Kevin just runs around with a loincloth on and just tries to spear them.
Yeah.
So.
no, he has food plots. He left food this year.
Yeah.
You can get it done so many different ways.
So many
different
cool
ways.
It
is,
like,
absolutely.
You can shoot from the truck. You can shoot from whatever you want to do.
little bumper hunting.
That might be a sore subject for Zach.
Yeah. Well,
Oh boy,
Truck, box blind. I don't know. What was that last year?
yeah.
I don't probably can't talk about it.
There's no
Probably
way.
not.
There's no way those 2 deer came in range of that box blind to get killed with a bow. And it's just impossible.
No.
This thing is in the middle. It's the box blind's tucked right up behind the house, and the house is in the middle of nowhere.
And the box blind is filled to the brim with rifle shells.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get that in those bigger
And the
games.
blood trail was, 15 yards before the deer took over?
Yeah. Well,
And it ran towards the
I was
blind.
going to say, we can get into that. Zach's not at fault here. 2 of your deer got poached last year. I mean, let's be honest.
Big deer.
Big
there's
deer.
a nice deer.
Big
right?
deer.
For sure.
By the same swinging fucking dick that thinks he's cool.
Yeah,
What was his name again? You want to say his name?
What the fuck
Or
is
do you
his
not
name?
want to say his name? I don't care.
Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, Tony.
That was
something.
his fighting alias.
Yep.
Do
Former
we get into
MMA
that?
fighter.
Do you want to talk about that?
We can.
I'd
can.
love to hear it. Air it out.
All right.
he
So
went through the
I
court
kind of
system?
touched on it a little bit. It was deer we called Tex, and I had found his match at a
Oh,
sheds.
he killed that deer.
Yeah,
He killed that
Tex.
deer.
Oh, I didn't know it was that deer.
Yeah, and this deer was exceptional. And I've never had a deer so photogenic in my life.
He's a great looking deer.
Yeah, awesome brows.
Pictures, we thought this deer may have been a clean booner.
Yeah,
I mean,
County.
he was.
What did
He
he
had
end up
everything.
scoring?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's the worst
He got
part. Is
bored.
I
He
could
got
care
bored.
less.
He's for sure in the 60s, I would
For
say.
sure.
All day.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
His brows were
So,
unbelievable.
like, if one of the
weren't they?
neighbors killed him, we would have went over there and drank a beer. We would have
Right.
celebrated. It would have been awesome, right? Because it's just everybody's kind of working together. We're
Kind
at
of.
different.
Kind of.
Well, we're at different levels,
Yeah,
but
you're right. No,
most
I get it.
most
I get it.
everybody is working together. So you got to celebrate something like that.
Yeah.
That's a once
That's
in a
the worst
lifetime deer
part.
for
Is
around here.
nobody around. Nobody that helped grow that deer. Were
Rewarded.
able to
Rewarded for
Put
it.
their hand on it.
put
and be
their
like,
hand
oh,
on it
yeah.
Right.
and see what he was. But I got pictures when he first started growing. I mean, just his brows, and I got pictures. I mean, every other day.
Yeah, every morning I'd
how-
wake
how
up to
old
Zach
was he when
being
you
like,
started
oh
getting
my
him?
God.
So for sure 3.5.
Okay.
So I think he got killed when he was 4.5, and it's just hard to say if I'd seen him when. I'm sure I had pictures
Because a
when he
lot
was
of them look
2.5.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't really notice him. You know, I don't pay a lot of attention to the 1.5 and the and I should. But you know, I'm saving photos of the 3.5s and deer like that. But we would get him every single day.
Was he pretty consistent on the same pattern?
Yes,
Really?
yes.
They never left that section pretty much
No.
all year.
No, he started to towards the end.
Were you going to kill him as a 3-year-old?
It depends. So if I was
Because he was probably, what, in the 30s or 40s?
So I
as
found
a-
his match. No, he put a jump on like you wouldn't believe.
Really?
Big jump.
So his match set of sheds, estimating his spread, he was like 129 inches.
So 130.
Yeah.
I mean, we can inch.
Yeah.
We get an inch out of him.
But where he was at was the swamp, and I don't hunt the swamp. So I spent, and Dad doesn't bow hunt a lot. And he was all wound up, and he was putting in a lot of time. And the trouble with it is he's the type of guy, he's a lot like me. He hates scaring deer. But he was forcing himself to go out there because I'd literally have a picture of him. The one day he didn't go out, the other day he walked right by a stand. So he started to get a little bit less active, of course, around the middle of October. like most deer do. Yeah.
Was your dad going to kill him as a 3-year-old?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
He's pretty picky.
Okay, so you had him as you think a 3-year-old. He got through that year. He shows up as a 4-year-old, and he's just blown up.
Correct.
At least
I think the
160.
first
I mean,
picture you
pictures
sent was the brow tines were like
stupid.
10 inches above his head, and his main beams were just
I
going
mean, his
out.
beams have got to be 24s.
That's what we figured. I mean, 'cause
wide.
he's got to be 19, 20 inches wide, and he's got 12-inch brows, and he wraps right around in good fours. What he didn't have was a lot of mass.
Right.
I think he was that long that he didn't look heavy.
He could.
I was just gonna say, was he just because he had great tine leg too, and it's like some of those deer just don't look massive.
Right. And then you measure him, and he's got 4 or 5-inch bases, and
you never got him in your hands, did you?
I never did.
Wow.
So he comes in to the 4-year-old year, and what happens then?
So the very first picture I got of him was not where we got the pictures of him. So I was behind Mom and Dad's house. Now, granted, the swamp's across
Not
the road.
far.
So, yeah. But I very seldom got pictures of him over there. So he started out over there. I got a few pictures of him over there. And then, of course, he went across the road. It was just so much fun, waking up every single morning, or you just wait till 9 o'clock at night and you'd have a picture of him. It was a lot of fun, for sure.
I'm sure you glassed him in the fields a lot.
Glassed him in the fields a lot, but where he was hanging was a long ways off the road, so you need a spot and scope to see him.
And then towards the end of September, he showed up on the other side of the road where you could bow hunt. So
Correct.
we were
right
Zach,
before
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, right before
he's starting
the first
to
of
range
October.
out.
He showed. Yeah, I had a couple pictures of him back by a set that I had.
Because I remember it kept being like, Zach, he's gonna shift. Like this is the year that he's gonna you're gonna get him. And
So you're getting excited.
We were getting excited for sure.
somebody in there is gonna kill him.
I thought for sure that it was Dad and Bernie one of those two were gonna kill this deer, and I thought they were gonna kill him October 1st.
That's how many
I
daylight
mean, he was
pictures.
coming down through that bowl, and I put a tree stand there, a ladder stand for Dad, and a cedar tree, and he was going by that thing
A lot.
like 6 out of 7 mornings.
Almost where you're like, what
Yeah,
are
I'm
you
like,
doing? Like,
yeah.
why are you doing this?
He was very visible.
Yeah.
Fascinating thing there. So Dad hunted a lot, Bernie hunted a lot. They never seen him on the hoof. Never
Really?
once.
Do you think they're them going in there and everything
for
like
sure.
that was
For
just
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were hunting it more aggressively than what they
normally do.
normally would, for sure.
But like you said, you were getting those pictures, so it's like I got
Gives you that much hope.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
So-
you gotta go.
He's here.
So I say I don't hunt the swamp. I actually sat that swamp one time that year, and it was just kind of an observation. Sit in a tree. I had some old sticks, and I went in there with my in an old tree, and I just went in with my saddle and hung.
Mm-hmm.
And that deer came from by the road,
You saw him though.
and I saw him, and he was 100 yards away, right at dark.
like the paved road where you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's there's some grass up there, and he was
Yeah.
bedding up there. I don't think he did that frequently, but that night, yeah, he did. So we start getting closer to the end of October, and
I was down in because somebody, it was either you or Cole, called me. I killed my buck on October 26th, and he had not died yet.
Yeah, I think it was the 28th.
Yeah.
Because I had killed, and I talked to you. I think it was Cole.
I think so.
And it was like, he's like, Dex, they're going to kill this deer soon. And then it was like, when I got home, all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Well, and we share a lot of our pictures with the neighbors. So, and the neighbors share a lot of pictures with us. So that deer was venturing that way a little bit because the one neighbor had some pictures of him. But when we seen a picture of this guy, well, first off, it was, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
And where the
He's
hell,
an import.
Yeah, where the hell did he come from?
when did you
we
see the
narrowed
first
it down.
picture? Or who saw the first picture?
Somebody sent it to me.
Yeah, I don't remember who you said sent it to you, but
I think guy's a few years younger than us, Adam Fox. I think he was the one that sent it.
So, okay, when you get that picture, you got to be thinking, first of all, I don't know who you are, but I know this deer
I know
for
that
2
deer.
years, and I know he doesn't venture very far.
Well,
so
and I had pictures of him that night, so he
you
wasn't.
did?
Yeah, he wasn't that far. I mean, he was right. So I'm like, okay, I got pictures of him.
In daylight.
No, it was right evening. I think it was just getting dark or an hour past dark or whatever. This deer couldn't have went that far.
Yeah, you can narrow it down pretty quick.
And I know we got a good idea of everybody because we talked to them all.
Right.
So we narrowed it down pretty quick as to where he was shot.
And then let's get more into this. This is good. This is good. So, you didn't know who the guy was. So what was the next steps? I mean, I kind of know the story.
So one of the neighbors went back there where the picture was taken, because they're between the
where the grip and grin picture was taken.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, if we're gonna call a spade, that right there was the mistake of the guy. Mm-hmm. He took the picture in the field where this deer was at, which
everyone that glasses that area knows what that looks like.
Yeah.
It was a stubble bean field. You could see the tire tracks going right back there. Okay, so you can see the blood. Well, then you just start backtracking the blood.
Right.
And when the blood starts 20 yards from where the deer was laying, and the deer's 300 yards out in the field.
And it ran towards
So
the middle of nothing.
Everybody listening, paint you a picture here. This bean field, it's just a bean field. There's no woods around it. There's no nothing. There's a house in the middle of the bean. Not in the
There's
middle.
There's a creek that lines the west side of it.
Yeah, but that's a long ways away. That's
long ways.
400 yards away from
we're talking about
blind.
a big bean field here, and there's a rifle blind right behind this house. I mean, literally
in their yard.
You could a lob wedge, and you could start hitting golf balls from the house to the. So then, the story goes as like, where the deer died, and there was only a 20-yard blood trail. Then it's like, okay, he didn't shoot with a bow in bow season.
Right.
Correct.
So then somebody had turned him in, obviously, and then come to find out he shoots another one.
He shot one earlier.
That was still a good deer, too.
Oh, for sure. It was
very good deer.
130s, 140s?
140-inch deer, low 40s.
Out of the same blind.
Yeah, we called them twins. Yeah, it was out of the same blind.
Yeah, both of Zach's,
Those are two nice deer.
Yeah.
No, that deer, you probably had a lot of history with that deer. That deer, like, it did go MIA. You're like, oh, shit, where's that deer?
So that deer from our property was on camera religiously 300 yards away. And we didn't have a single picture of him. I'd see him as I was driving around, but I never had a picture of twins. Mm-hmm. But he was right there. I mean, you got property to the north across the road. You got that middle property, and our property is directly to the east, essentially. So we knew that deer. Didn't have any pictures of him per se, but he was right there.
Yeah. So the DNR went over there, nabbed him, right? Got him. Did you hear any more of the story, like from DNR side of things?
I didn't hear anything from the DNR, but all I know is from what the county courthouse puts on there. He pled guilty, and they pled it down to a baiting violation.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
For 300 inches of bone.
Right.
So I don't know what was all entailed there. I mean, he had a pretty hefty fine.
Probably couldn't point the
what they
finger
could prove.
right at. Yeah, they couldn't prove exactly what it was, so
Yeah.
you take a plea deal and get what you can. And
Yeah.
Well, so and that's and a lot of people will say shame on
throat this thing. Jesus.
A lot of people will say shame on the DNR there. Well, the DNR did their job.
They did their
Right.
The court's just looking at, okay, well, this guy was going to cooperate. I'll get $1,500 out of him.
Right.
My whole thing is, though, like, you look at the shot, it's 300 yards from the rifle blind, and you're in a wide open bean field. You're a turd and a punch bowl out there. He's not out there with a bow and arrow.
For sure, the DNR couldn't look at the body either. It was already processed.
Okay.
I think they'd been able to. I think if they would have been able to see the body, they would have been like, that is a ballistic wound, not a broadhead.
That's so they took the deer from him too, I'm guessing.
Initially, yeah, I know that, but I don't know if he got it back or what.
That'd be really sad if he did.
And come to find out, he's actually doesn't even have permission on the property.
So his buddy works for the landowner, and maybe he had permission that way, or maybe he didn't.
Or his buddy was just I got a blind, go
correct.
sit in it, and
they're all about shooting any deer that walks out there, so they didn't care who was out there.
That's too bad, man.
The deer.
I mean, we're talking what could be a gross booner, and for sure in the 160s. We'll just say that. I mean, he's just a giant deer, And for the other one too, 140s, and it's like, what the hell?
That
man?
might as well be a booner for Michigan.
Yeah, there's
Right.
nothing. Yeah, 140.
I'm sure he was
scuff at.
baiting though.
I'm sure.
And obviously
And
we
that's
can't
what they
bait.
could prove. So that's
Oh
what
yeah,
they,
I mean,
that's what you
out in
had.
the middle of a bean field, the beans are cut, so it's like,
Well, and there was a cell cam right there on the bait pile too. So
oh,
the buddy lives right in the house. Well, it would have been what I suspect, whether it was gun or bow or whatever, gun or crossbow, or
Cell
whatever
cam
it
went
was.
off and they went
Cell
out there.
cam went off. They
Nighttime
went through
spotlight.
the big barn, and he didn't shoot it from the blind. He shot it from the barn with a spotlight. That's what I
because you
I
had a
could
picture
see
of
that
right
happening,
at
too.
last light,
correct.
right? Boy, that's where cell cams can be. That's
Oh,
where
yeah,
I draw the line.
for
It's
sure,
like
for sure.
you're using them the wrong way there.
Yeah, but if anybody's going to
That
shoot
guy-
something either in bow season with the deer rifle or
Well, sure,
after
that
dark,
guy's gonna break the law no matter
yeah,
what.
Exactly.
Sure.
It's not really up to
exactly.
you. It's the dark.
The cell camera is just a
Gun.
tool he's using to break the law.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You guys need to take a break at all, or do you want to pee break or anything?
I
like
could
that?
probably
we can
pass.
we can take
let's
we
take
can
let's take a
a-
quick break
Okay.
and we'll come back to her.